For Module 4, Lesson 2, we're going to continue to look at the idea of fractions as being kind of like multiplication. Imagine we have 8 dump trucks. Imagine we have 8 tons of gravel and we're going to put it in 4 dump trucks. So here's 8 tons of gravel and they're going to go into 4 dump trucks. Don't make fun of my truck picture. How we did that before was we said we had to take the 8 tons of gravel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if we want to split that among 4 trucks, let's call our trucks A, B, C, and D. We had 2 ways of doing it. We could deal them out like cards and then chop up the leftovers. Or we could divide each of the tons into 4 pieces and count it all up. Let's do it the first way because I think it's a little quicker. 1 to A, 1 to B, 1 to C, 1 to D. Okay, so far, each truck got 1 ton of gravel. But we can keep going. A, B, C, D. And look, no leftovers. So each truck is getting 2 tons. The answer to the question is that 1 truck gets 2 tons of gravel. Today we're going to work less with this kind of diagram and more with tape diagrams to represent the same thing. I wish I had like an erasing music. So let's draw our piece of tape. This is all of our gravel. How much gravel is it? 8 tons. We're going to divide our gravel into the 4 trucks. So I make 4 sections of my tape. And you can all probably just glance at this and see that each piece of tape, each truck has to be 2. Because 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. The whole thing is 8. Let's look at a different problem. What if I have 5 tons of gravel and 4 trucks? Well, my tape diagram will look about the same. All my gravel being split among 4 trucks. The only difference is that instead of 8 tons, now I've got 5. Okay. But remember, when we were over here, we really just did 8 divided by 4 equals 2. So can't we do the same thing? 5 divided by 4. I could draw out 5 things and split them in 4s and all that, but it would take a while. Let's do it the easy way. 5 divided by 4. I've got 1 left over, but this 1 is also being divided by 4. If I have 1 thing and I'm dividing it into 4, I'm making fourths. So my answer is 1 and 1/4. Another way of saying 1 and 1/4 is that my 1 is 4/4 plus 1/4. 4 plus 1 is 5/4. Do you see this? 5 divided by 4 is the same as 5/4. We can almost think of this little line as meaning divided by. 5/4 equals 5 divided by 4. All right, let's look at this with another problem. This time, you guys know that I like to sew, so we're going to be dealing with some fabric. We've got 2 yards of fabric, and we want to make 5 identical pillows. So each pillow will need the same amount of fabric because the pillows are the same. 2 yards, 5 pillows. How would I make that into a tape diagram? I'll draw my piece of tape, which is all my fabric. How much fabric do I have? 2 yards. But I want to make 5 pillows. I divide this into fifths. 2 yards divided by 5. This is another way to write the same thing. And in fact, it's my answer, 2/5 yards. Now let's check that in case we're not sure. If we're saying each pillow is 2/5 of a yard, 2/5 plus 2/5 plus 2/5 plus 2/5 plus 2/5. What would that all add up to? 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 10 fifths. 10 fifths, we know, can be turned into, well, not a mixed number, but in this case, a whole number. Because 10 fifths is just 10 divided by 5 equals 2. 2 yards, 2. It all adds up. It checks out. Each pillow equals 2/5 yards of fabric. I went a little fast on that, so let's try another one. This time we're dealing with my other favorite thing. The only thing I like more than fabric is ice cream. So let's say there's an ice cream shop, and the ice cream shop uses 4 pints of ice cream to make 6 sundaes. Those are going to be big sundaes. And in case you never noticed before, that's how you spell Sunday when you're talking about ice cream. It's an E, not a Y, unlike the day. So let's draw a tape diagram. I'll show all of my ice cream. There's all my ice cream. How much ice cream do I have? I've got 4 pints. That's the whole amount. What am I dividing that whole amount into? My 6 sundaes. So let's get that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How much is going to go in each sundae? 4 divided by 6. Can I write that as a fraction? 4 divided by 6. If you don't believe me, draw out those 4 pints the way we did the cereal bars. Divide them all into 6 and count up how many you get. Trust me, it's the same as 4 divided by 6. Now, I never want to leave my fractions like this, right? I can reduce this. I'm going to divide top and bottom by 2 to get 2/3. I can check my answer. 2/3, 2/3, 2/3, 2/3, 2/3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, 8, 10, 12. I end up with 12 thirds. 3/3 make a whole, and I know 12 is 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So I actually have 4 whole pints. It's the same. I did it right. All right, we're going to try one more problem. It's going to get a little bit more complicated, but I think you guys can handle it. Some of you are going to already want to skip the tape diagram, but I think it's a good way to help you make sure you're understanding the problem, to see that you have a whole quantity of something and you're dividing it into parts. So in this one, Lillian has 2 2-liter bottles of soda. Lillian has 2 2-liter bottles of soda. Let's go ahead and draw just that part. There's the soda bottles. How many does she have? Oh, she's got 2. And how big is each one? 2 liters. She's going to divide them into, say she wants to pour them. She wants to pour the soda into 10 glasses equally. because all her 10 friends want the same amount of soda. Let's go to our tape diagram. Here's all the soda, and all the soda is going to be divided into 10 glasses. That should be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All the soda is divided by 10. How much soda does she have, though? Let's check back in. Does she have 2 liters of soda? No. She has 2 bottles that are each 2 liters. 2 plus 2 is going to be 4 liters. So our whole amount of soda is 4 liters, and it's divided by 10. 4 divided by 10 will tell me what each glass gets. I know I can write that as a fraction. 4 divided by 10. Now in this question, they actually want us to give them several different answers. Okay? They want to know what each glass was as a fraction of a liter. Well, I've got this. I made a fraction, 4/10 of a liter. But I know I could reduce this fraction. I could divide top and bottom by 2 and make it 2/5 of a liter. So that's a really nice answer. But they also want to know, that's A. B says, express your answer as a decimal number of liters. How do I go from 4/10 to a decimal? Well, I know that it's decimal, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Tenths is first. How many tenths do I have? 4. So another way of saying my answer is 4/10 liters. I could write it as a fraction, or I can write it as a decimal. It's the same amount of soda. Finally, in C, they wanted me to express my answer as a whole number of milliliters. So let's take our brain back to when we were converting units. If I've got 0.4 liters, and I want to know what that is in milliliters, step 1, separate the number from the unit. So I've got 0.4 times 1 liter. I'm trying to go from liters to milliliters, so I need to write this part in parentheses as the same amount, but in milliliters. How many milliliters do I need to make up a liter? You should remember that milli means really small. It means 1,000. I need 1,000 milliliters to make 1 liter. These guys are the same. They equal each other. Now all I have to do is multiply. I could do this 2 ways. I could say 4 times 1,000 is 4,000, and I've got 1 decimal place here, so I've got 1 decimal place here. Or I could say I'm multiplying by 1,000. That's 1, 2, 3 zeros. So I'm going to take my decimal and go 1, 2, 3 places, and that'll get me 400 milliliters. Great. Now it's time to try the problem set.